Are you looking for ways to know how to be a great parent advocate? Well, if you are, this video is for you. My name is Kathleen, by the way, and I'm a dyslexic here to help other dyslexics and their parents. I help overwhelmed parents understand their child's frustration with dyslexia so they can support, encourage, and empower them. Parent advocacy is such a huge piece of helping empower your child. It means that you are figuring out what dyslexia is or whatever disability they have. I really don't like to say disability. I really like to say ability because they are also capable of doing so many things because of their dyslexia or whichever ability they have. They are capable of so much, but it takes time and it takes energy to figure out what that is. And you play a huge role in that because you are helping them figure it out. So I have 6 tips for you today to help be a great parent advocate. Tip number 1 is to trust your instinct. Yes, you know exactly what your child needs. Most of the time, we are here today and you are learning all about this because you trusted your instinct. You knew something wasn't right and you stepped up and asked and are starting to figure out a way to help and support your child. So congratulations, you did awesome on step 1. So tip number 2 is to learn all about any ability your child has. So you're going to learn the ins and outs about it. So you can do that through reading books, you can do that through watching videos on YouTube, you can do that through Instagram. There's so much information out there about it at this point that it's very easy. But if you want it, I'm going to break it down very easily for you. So dyslexia. Dyslexia really boils down to how our brains process information. A dyslexic brain processes information on the right side of the brain, where most people process information on the left side of the brain. So with that processing on the right side of the brain, this means that we think in pictures. So we're definitely abstract thinkers. You are thinking in pictures. And so when it comes to reading specific words, if you cannot relate that word to a picture, you draw a blank, and that is where confusion comes in. And so all of those tricky sight words, when you start to think about it, all of those words, those are the tricky words that dyslexics struggle with because they cannot tie it to a picture. We just draw a blank, which confuses the picture we're drawing in our head. The other thing is to know that dyslexia most of the time has its limitations, and so dyslexics struggle to learn how to read, write, spell, and some executive functions like time management and organization. Those are some of the drawbacks. Not all of them, but some of the drawbacks to dyslexia. But then there's a whole nother side, a side that I didn't know about growing up, but there are advantages. And there are so many advantages, and most of the time they outweigh the disadvantages. And so some of the advantages are out-of-the-box thinker. We think in pictures. We are able to make connections that nobody else is. We are very empathetic and we can connect to people on a level that nobody else can. And the list goes on and on. So knowing the positive side also helps. Tip number 3 is to help your child understand their ability. So if it's dyslexia, you're going to help them understand what it is. You're going to help them understand the drawbacks, and you're also going to help them understand the positive side, which is much easier to talk about the positive side because it is. It's so much fun to talk about things that our brain works differently. And with that, yes, there are limitations, and this is what it is, and most people know those, but you get to do these things, and these things are going to come easy to you, and it's going to become easier. And the world is starting to embrace dyslexia and realize that it actually helps change the world and give companies the cutting edge technology and ideas they need to spearhead in the future. So companies are starting to look for and recruit dyslexics, which is a huge step in the right direction into embracing dyslexia. Tip number 4, I kind of mentioned it in tip number 2, but it is understand the positive side of any ability that your child has. So dyslexia, again, is out of the box thinking, critical thinkers. We're also abstract thinkers. We use our imagination. We're creative. A lot of us are athletic because we know that we can't do very well in the classroom, so we put everything into doing a sports really well. And if you look at it, some Olympians and major famous athletes are all dyslexic when you start looking at it. And so that's really encouraging that, okay, we're not good in the classroom, but we're good somewhere else. Again, the out-of-the-box thinker, we are very empathetic. We are able to connect and relate to somebody easier than other people. We're very creative, and the list goes on and on. So make sure your child is understanding that and figure out which advantages come naturally to your child and encourage them to embrace those. Tip number 5 is understand accommodations. So the main 3 things to understand about accommodations is it's not cheating. It's not going to get you ahead. The only thing it's going to do is it's going to give you your time back. So when you start to think about that it's not cheating and that you can understand accommodations and help your child understand that with this, they're not cheating and they're not getting ahead. It's just leveling the playing field. And so accommodations are super important. And so learn which accommodations your child needs and help them learn how to use those accommodations. This is a huge piece to embracing and helping support your child. So for me, when I was growing up, it was my parents would read the text to me. Luckily, these days, technology is so advanced that there are screen readers and other things, so you don't have to sit down and read the text to your child. Then I needed the test questions read to me, so I would have somebody read the test questions to me. And then I would also have a note taker. And with the note taker, I was able to still try. I tried. But my notes didn't make sense. I couldn't spell. I couldn't do this. I would get lost when it comes to seeing what was written on the board and then writing it down on a piece of paper. That just didn't happen for me. And I still struggle with it. But it is what it is, and I've learned ways around it. And then when it comes to writing, it got frustrating, but I would use speech to text. So that way I could talk out my ideas so I wouldn't have to worry about spelling. I wouldn't have to worry about the other things. And I do have an older video about accommodations that I'm going to link right here for you so that you can understand more about accommodations so you can help your child. And make sure that those accommodations are put in place either with a 504 plan or a IEP. And if you have any questions about either one of those, go ahead and send me an email, and I'm more than happy to help you. Tip number 6 is sabotage. I know that sounds really mean, but let me explain it. So sabotage is where you're going to go in and test your child to make sure that they're learning how to speak up for themselves and ask for their accommodations that they need. So an example of this would be if your child has the calculator accommodation in math, you forget to give them the calculator. Do they just sit there and try to do it without the calculator, or do they ask you for a calculator? When you're working with homework and they need a question read to them, you know that it's coming up, go ahead and just walk away. See what they do. Do they just sit there and wait for you to come back? Or do they say, hey, come read the question to me? Because that's going to happen in the classroom. The teacher's going to get busy. The teacher's going to have to help other students. So teaching them to learn to raise their hand and ask for what they need is really, really important. Then also just maybe give them a book if they have the tech where they're able to read it or go on the computer and read it. Just give them a book and see what they do. And if they do well, reward them. Celebrate the fact that they are learning how to speak up for themselves. And if they don't, use it as a teaching experience to teach them to speak up for themselves. Because if they don't learn how to do it, nobody else is. And I know that I always had my parents advocate for myself. I didn't know how to, but this has come about lately, and it's something that I feel that every child needs to learn how to do. They need to learn how to speak up for themselves and get exactly what they need. So this is a great way in helping them learn how to do that. Those are 6 easy tips for parent advocacy. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I just wanted to let you know that I have a very special offer that I am putting together. It is top secret right now, but I can't wait to share it with you. And I am looking for a handful of parents to work with one-on-one with me so I can help support you in anything. If it's telling your child they're a dyslexic, helping with what accommodations need to be put in place, understanding the accommodations, understanding what dyslexia is, whatever you're struggling with, I am here to help you. And the best part about this is it's one-on-one coaching right now with me, and you are also, I am going to custom make a program just for you to help you support your child. So I have a questionnaire that I ask you to fill out, and I have early bird pricing for this special offer. So if you are interested, go ahead and send me an email that says support to lock in the early bird pricing and to get exactly what you need so you can better support your child. I am going to leave the email in the description, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.